Hello and welcome to UKGN Network and the countdown of our top 5 games for July 2017. This has been a month that's really stretched the rulebook for what games are eligible for our chart and which aren't. Full retail releases are, of course, fine, but this month we've had one game that arrived on shelves despite still being in early access, and therefore not up for consideration. In addition, we've had a couple of titles that would have been called remakes if they weren't clearly being sold as sequels, and a succession of brilliant games that had actually arrived on different systems months ago. Notable re-releases this month include Shadow Tactics and Superhot VR, both of which appeared in our top 5 when they launched on the PC last year, and are still both highly recommended. In amongst all the confusion, there have been loads of new games that were contenders for the top spot. Did your favourite make our list? Keep watching to find out.
Number 5.
The time it takes to make any game, I'd imagine you need to be passionate about the subject matter. But in the case of Behold the Kickmen, that passion is one of hatred. This is a football game made by someone with no interest in or knowledge of the sport. The result is a scathing and often hilarious parody of the unavoidable circus that accompanies 22 men kicking a ball around a field for 10 months of the year. You play as a kickman, out to become the greatest the world has ever seen, by simply doing more goals than the enemy team. Oh, and to make lots and lots of money in the process. On your journey you'll encounter cocky opponents, incompetent coaches and even a tragic backstory. For the matches themselves, the gameplay is loosely based on speedball, doing away with anything that might cause the game to slow down, like throw-ins, and keeping things fast and fun. All that's missing is any kind of multiplayer mode, but that's deliberate to keep the focus on the ludicrous story, and with an asking price of less than £3, we're not going to grumble too much.
Number 4.
We had been concerned that Splatoon 2 wouldn't be different enough from the first game to truly warrant the 2 at the end of the title, but how wrong we were. This expands and refines as any good sequel should, with notable visual improvements throughout. The focus is once again on the multiplayer, and the online battles are every bit as enjoyable and competitive as you'd expect. As good as the multiplayer is, though, Nintendo have once again kept the excellent single-player campaign hidden away in the corner of the main hub town, and it's still the best reason to own the game. This is just as much a Nintendo game as anything starring Mario or Link, with the structure of Super Mario Galaxy. Each area features self-contained levels where you leap between connected areas that are all peppered with great ideas and replayability. There are some real standout levels amongst the 32 on offer, stretched across 5 worlds, and it's nice to know that Nintendo haven't lost their ability to create fun and challenging boss fights too.
Number 3.
While it's easy to complain that the latest game from the designer of Super Meat Boy is incredibly similar to his previous game, to do so would be churlish because The End is Nigh is just as good, if not better. The developer has once again managed to hit perfectly that sweet spot where the controls are so precise that you'll never blame them for your death, just yourself. The level design is truly devious at times, with pixel-perfect jumps and precision timing required to survive. No matter how hard it gets, however, you'll always feel that the levels are possible. Whereas Meat Boy had single levels, here all the screens are connected to make up a larger map, meaning you can backtrack to find secrets via alternative routes if you desire, and this is the type of game you'll want to play again and again in order to master your skills, especially as the save game screen shows just how many times you died on your previous attempts. Nothing taunts us as gamers more than telling us how bad we are.
Number 2.
There's simply no way that Vostok Inc. should have worked, but combining the immediacy of the twin-stick shooter with the bloated tedium of a clicker game has actually produced one of the most addictive titles we've played all year. All you're required to do is fly around space, shoot asteroids, fight off aliens, land on planets, build businesses and watch as the money rolls in. The more you build, the faster you earn, and the more things you can buy and unlock. It's mind-boggling just how much there is to keep you occupied, and you won't even notice the hours disappearing as you play. Every time you think you've seen everything, something new will appear to drag you in further, whether it's a new minigame, planet or enemy. We could have done without the constant chatter from the world's most annoying CEO, which on PS4 even comes out of the DualShock speaker, but it's easy to ignore his inane banter and attempts at humour, especially when there's an entire new solar system to explore just 5 minutes away.
Number 1.
It's not often enough that we get to use the word unique when describing a new game, but Pyre is something genuinely different and surprising, and further proof that Supermassive Games are one of the most confident indie studios around. Imagine an epic RPG along the lines of the Banner Saga, but with battles being fought in a kind of sports arena, where the two parties compete to see who can slam dunk an orb into their opponent's fire the most. It works fantastically well, and what's even better is that it can be played against friends in a separate multiplayer mode. Away from the battles, it's a much deeper game than you first realise, with a quest and story that get more immersive as you progress. It's filled with great characters too, making the choices that you have to make about their welfare all the more difficult. As you'd expect from the makers of Bastion, it's a gorgeous looking game too, with some glorious use of colour making the game truly stand out. In the end, this was an easy choice for our Game of the Month. That concludes another UKGN Top 5. And we've now been doing our charts for 2 whole years. We hope you've enjoyed agreeing or not with our choices over that time, and hope you come back next month when we unveil the exciting new look for our video. Also, if you're near Oldham on the 20th of August, why not come along and see us at Hamfest, where we'll have a great selection of retro games for everyone to play. Find the details over on our Facebook page. We are UK Gaming Network. Thanks for watching.